Welcome to Clariot Noir. The following recordings are based on real events in Bridal Veil Lake. Stories come directly from the people who have experienced them. Listener discretion is advised.
Infernal Intervention by Ms Owen. My odd encounter goes back some decades to 1967, when I settled in Bridal Veil Lake with my husband. I went mad the following year. The neighborhood by the school, Buckner Collegiate, seemed bright and new and full of hope compared to post-war Europe, which both my husband and I had experienced as children to some degree. He was from Britain and I from Ukraine, the latter having been hit very badly by the war. The only blight on Bridal Veil Lake, at least where we had settled, were the dark rumors surrounding the Scout House. It was dilapidated and crumbling and had been for years. I paid it and the rumors about it no mind. Still, I did not like the building or walking past it on my way to and from our local grocer. It felt like there were eyes watching from the broken windows. Who knew what vagrants might take up such a space? I began to hear the answers to this question with each passing I did of the Scout House. I paraphrase here, but it was along the lines of, "There is no one inside there. Go inside. Let this small truth be evidence of our honest intentions." The words were always like that, and at first I thought it was my own mind thinking them as part of a standard internal dialogue. Yet, the voices and their messages about the property remained consistent. I remember a repetition of, "There is no one in there, go in. There is no one in there, go in." I ignored the voices for a time and began taking a more circuitous route to the grocery store, but the voices followed. "You have never been inside, so you can't know that there is a tattered banner from a boys' club dangling from the wall, or a water-stained photograph under a school desk in the corner. Go in and prove to yourself that we do not come from your imagination. We dare you." I was uncomfortable with these very specific references and finally admitted to myself that there was potentially something unholy going on. I confided in my husband. After some thought and a brief discussion regarding seeing a doctor or our priest, he suggested that we go into the Scout House together. If the items mentioned by the voices were there, that would tell us which specialist to see first. We visited the property on a Saturday with our friend and his wife. We were very close to these friends and told them everything. They displayed more fascination than fear. We discovered very quickly the remnants of a banner, a group apparently named the Crusaders, hung from the wall. My husband took my hand in consolation, gently offering that this in itself proved nothing. "Your own mind could have guessed something like this would be here, my dear. Heck, I would have too," he said. I was hesitant to agree. The desk and the photo would be more proof, of course, so we continued to search. There weren't many places for it to be. The Scout House was one large room with a single non-functioning bathroom and an L-shaped loft running beneath the series of broken windows. Our group searched thoroughly and found nothing resembling a desk. Not until we attempted to leave. Our friend pulled open the front door to leave, and the handle slipped from his fingers, and the door swung heavily open, hitting the wall. A clatter in the corner, and we turned towards the small wreckage. My husband picked up a piece of wood that had fallen and held it up for us to see. It was the top portion of a swing-top student's desk. Is this the desk? See, he said, no photograph. We can rest easy tonight. He didn't realize he presented us with the underside of the desktop, where we had not looked. There, half pasted with rainwater, were the ruined faces of people looking out of a photograph. When he realized what we were staring at, my husband swore and smashed the desktop to the floor at his feet, as if it were cursed. The four of us swiftly filed out of Scout House and remained silent in thought all the way back to our place. Then we had a round of stiff drinks. I remember my husband taking charge at this point, even more so. He was of the mind that this wasn't possible and there must be a logical explanation to be found. Around the table, we all shook our heads thoughtfully in agreement. Yes, there must. The voices made their presence known to me then, consuming my brain like a vicious thunderstorm, muting my own thoughts and impulses. He will accuse you of lying, they said. Do not deny it. There is no point, and it does not matter. We have shown you that we are separate from you. And I demanded aloud for the voices to reveal themselves. My voice was apparently so loud and sudden, and my husband tells me that him and our friends were shocked at this and tried to engage with me in support. But at this moment, I remember I was purely focused inward. I fully paraphrase this next part, but it is crucial to the story, so stay with me here. We were doctors at the Jepson Hospital, they said. Listen, you have what is called a meningioma, which is a kind of tumor. You've had it a long time. It's been growing slowly and steadily within you. This tumor is very near to killing you, and it must be removed urgently. Go to the doctor immediately and get an X-ray. Demand one. Tell them you're hearing voices, your vision is weak, and your memory vague and inconsistent. Go right now. I recorded what I could remember from the monologue as quickly as possible, sharing with the others at the table as I was writing. It took a great deal of convincing to get an X-ray at the hospital that day, but it did indeed reveal the tumor. An operation swiftly followed, and when I was more or less recovered and coherent again, the voices spoke to me one last time. Their message was comforting. They said, "We are pleased that you are well and recovering. We will be leaving you now, but if you ever need anything, please reach out to us and ask." I felt validated hearing that, relieved, safe, for having some sort of unknown guardian angel presence with me. I thanked the voices genuinely, and they did leave me. I'm not sure how I knew that, but I just felt it. I went home after a few weeks of recovery in hospital and spent a great deal of time thinking about the voices. My husband remained suspicious of both me and the voices. Namely, I'd say about their existence, while I was concerned more so about their intentions. Why me? And so I sought out private consultation with our priest. He seemed to understand very quickly what I was speaking of. After I told him the story, he explained in eerie detail what they were. And then he led me a story about a young slave girl who made a great deal of money for her masters by telling the future. For some reason, the girl began to pester Paul the Apostle day in and day out until he finally got fed up, and Paul invoked the name of Christ to remove the unclean spirit within the girl. I did not understand, but was also not accustomed to questioning my priest, which he noticed and laid it bare for me. He looked deeply into my eyes and explained that the slave girl had been possessed by demons, and I made the sign of the cross. He assured me then that I was not possessed, but he feared that I had indeed had a brush with demonic oppression, which was where many possessions began. The demons arrive with deceptions, he patiently described, and they offered both entertainment and knowledge to the host. The demons would then appear friendly so that the host would happily let the demons take up real estate in their minds. I started to panic. Why me? I thought again. The enemy is a predator, and predators target the young and the sick. But why would they heal me? I wondered. The priest answered my question. I'm not even sure that I had asked it, but he answered it. They did not heal you, he said. They only gave you knowledge of a condition that you were otherwise unaware of. The tumor was removed before it could cause significant symptoms. It's more than likely that you would have sought treatment without infernal intervention once your symptoms became noticeable to you and to those around you. Infernal intervention? To this he agreed. Yes, that is exactly what I said. The divine has no need to manipulate us in order to give us aid. So he explained more of the demonic, and all of it frightened me. His overall message, though, was very simple. Do not, under any circumstance, reach out to them. They are waiting for my next struggle, and they would be eager to return under the guise of being helpful. When they speak again, he warned, and they will, you must not respond to them. You must come directly to the church. I did as the priest suggested, and to date I have not heard from them again directly. I apologize now for the length of my email, but it is necessary to let you know my case is not wholly unique. In fact, it is nearly identical to one that occurred in the 1980s. I have provided the link to that case in the email's attachments herein. Furthermore, I urge you and whoever walks with you on this path, for you do not seem to be alone in this investigation you're undertaking, to go to your priest and ask for guidance. I notice that your accounts consistently mention visions, and the implication is such that it seems to come from outside yourself, just as mine did. I wish you well, Mr. and or Ms. Clariot. May God keep you safe. Sincerely, Catherine Owen.